Hi, my name is Oluwatosin. Welcome to another Excel tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'll be showing you how you can use an Excel function to calculate age of your employee or employees, and as well how to use an Excel function to calculate the numbers of years in service, maybe the numbers of years they've used in service. So actually depending on the organization policy, or maybe the civil service rule in that particular country or state. Alright, so what I'm using here is just 35 years. So whenever the staff gets to 35 years, that staff is expected to retire. So I'm also going to show you how you can use an Excel function, or let's say a formula, to calculate the numbers of years with the months and days. Okay, so without wasting much time, quickly let me show you the Excel function I'm going to use to get these results. Okay, so I'm going to open in the second sheet. So in my second sheet I have this function, this dated if function. That's the name of the function, dated if. Then we have this argument. Okay, so what follows is the date. This date represents either the date of birth or the date of first appointment or employment. So the next function is today's date function. Now this functions provides you with the current date, today's date. Let me show you an example. Let me use this cell and I type in equals to today. Now over here, this is the Excel function. This is the function for today. Now to select this function, just press tab on your keyboard. Tab, it will select the function. Then the next thing, I'm going to close the bracket, then press enter. Now you can see this is the current date. All right, so there's also a short key for this, and the short key is control and semicolon. Control and semicolon. So if you press control and semicolon on your keyboard, it gives you the current date. All right, so I'm going to delete this. So what we have next is comma. Please ensure you always add this comma. Okay, what we have next is comma. Then we have open quotation y and close quotation. Now this represents the year. Now what this function does is that Excel calculates the date, that's date of birth, the numbers of dates, years to the present date. Okay, they're starting from the date of birth to the present day, that's current date. Okay, so it's going to give you the numbers of years, just like for example, if you are born in 1989, maybe to today you are expected to be maybe 34 or thereabout. Anyways, so in order not to waste much time, I believe you understand this function already. So let's start calculating. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to calculate the staff age. Number one, we have Blessing Peters. Okay, so how do we calculate our age using that particular Excel function? So the first thing I'm going to do is, for you to add any function in Excel, you start with equals to. Okay, so I'm going to press equals to, then you type in, or let me use capital letter, where it's still the same thing, dated if. You open your bracket. Oh, before I do any other thing, I also want you to note something. This dated if or date if is not actually, when I say listed among the Excel function, though it's part of it, but it's not listed, such as the sum function, and the sum if and the rest of them. So for example, if you want to search for a function in Excel, you see this this area here, this insert function, this fx sign here. So if you click on it, this window's open. So this is where you can search for a particular function. Assuming I'm searching for sum if, and I type in go. Okay, so it's going to bring out the sum if. But if I'm to type this dated or date if, and I search for go, you see, please, when they rephrase your question, you can't really see it there, but I don't know why it's like that. Anyways, so let's continue. So I'm going to type in the Excel function equals to date if, then you open your bracket. So what follows next is the date of birth. Remember, we are calculating the age here. So what follows next is the date of birth. I'm going to select the date of birth, then follow with comma. Then what follows next is the today's function, which is today. You can see it here. So you're going to press tab on your keyboard to select this particular function. Okay, the next thing, you're going to close the bracket, you type in comma. Remember, you have to, the next thing that follows is open quotation, then y, close quotation. Remember to close this function with the bracket. You can see your formula tab here. Remember to close it with the bracket. So when you're done, just press enter. So you can see that this person's current age is 48 years. Okay, 48 years. So Blessing Peters is 48 years old. So in order to make your work swift or faster, I don't have to start typing out the formula. All I need to do is just autofill. So hover on this particular cell. You see this kind of green kind of square below. So just hover on it. When your cursor changes to this cross sign, just double click on it. So it's going to autofill the rest. Okay. So you can see that even on this particular cell, Excel follows the formula for you, or the functions for you. So that is how to calculate age in Excel. Now if I'm to change this particular person's age, or let me say Blessing Peters' age, she's currently on 1975, and I change it to 1965, let's see, then I press enter. Now she's 58 years old. Okay, so it changed the Excel work with it automatically. It changes the age for you, even if someone manipulates this age or tamper with it. All right, so I'm gonna leave it 75 the way it was. So that's how to calculate age using this particular Excel function. So the next thing we have to do here is to calculate the retirement by age. Now the reason why I decided to add this column is because so it's going to indicate that whenever a particular staff gets to 60 years, this particular cell should turn red, or maybe the write-up should be, the text should be red. Now how you're going to do that is to apply conditional formatting. Okay, conditional formatting. So before we apply the conditional formatting, we are still going to apply this same formula which we've done. Please, I know some of us will just want to Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Okay, it won't work that way, because the reason why it won't work that way is because now if you observe here, the first argument, which is the date, H5, okay, and if you observe from here, what we have here is J5. Now the reason why it shifted to J5, to this particular J5, now if we decide to make this fixed, okay, make it absolute, adding $sign, it won't change, but it may affect the other result here. So I won't advise you to just copy and paste it that way. You understand? In one of our courses, we have I talked about cell referencing, relative and absolute cell referencing. So if you're interested in the course, it's just 5,000 naira. Okay, I'll add a link to it, so if you're interested, you can enroll for it. So what you're going to do here is just to type in the date, dated if, type in the formula, okay, just as you've done before. Okay, so now the date, retirement by age, so I'm using the date of birth. Okay, then followed by today's function. Okay, close the bracket, then comma, quotation, y, close quotation, and close the bracket. Now I have 48 years, so I'm just going to autofill this. So I'm going to add, the next I'm going to do here is to add this conditional formatting, that whenever this particular staff gets to 60 years, this particular cell should turn red. Okay, now indicating to me that, oh, okay, all this that particular staff is expected to retire and stuff like that. So what am I going to do? How am I going to do that? Is I'm going to highlight this whole cell. Okay, now in your home tab, styles section, you see conditional formatting. So I'm going to click on this arrow, down key arrow, So the first one, I'm going to make use of this first rule. I'm going to hover on this, then you see other option. So I'm going to select greater than. Okay, now this window pops up. Now you see format cell that are greater than. So what I want to do here is that I'm going to set this to be 59. So any value that is above 59, okay, which next to it is 60, should turn red, like light red filled with dark red text. And the other option here, we have yellow filled with dark yellow. So I want it to be red. You can choose whichever. You can do a custom format, is okay, how you want it. You can customize it. So I'm going to use the first one, then okay. Now you can see that there's no age that is above 59 here. You understand? Because as a result of this conditional, the rule we add to it. So assuming I decide to change this date to maybe 1945, let's see, 1945. Now this is a person's age, which is 78 and is above 59 years. So you can see that it highlights it as red, meaning that this person who should have retired, this person is above 60 years. Okay, so that's how you can add conditional formatting to your Excel, just to make your work easier and understand. So I'm going to return this back to 75 years. Okay, 75. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is the numbers of years in service, now by the date of employment, meaning that, like I've explained earlier, if this person gets to or have used 35 years in service or in the organization, this staff is expected to retire. So how do you calculate that? The same dated if function we use here, yes, you're going to apply it here. So how do you do that? So you're going to be equals to dated, what am I saying, dated or date if, okay, open bracket, then we're going to select the date. Now we're not making use of date of birth, we're making use date of employment. That's the date which that particular staff was employed into their organization. So I'm going to select this comma, then I'm going to type in today's, that's I'm going to use today's function. Okay, then see press tab on your keyboard to select it. I'm closing the bracket. Okay, next what follows is comma, then open quotation, then type in y, close quotation, close the bracket. So we have 16 years now, meaning that from this particular date of employment 2008 to our current date, which is 2024, this particular staff, Blessing Esther, has just used or she has used 16 years in service or in the organization. So whenever the person gets 35 years, okay, that staff is expected to retire. So same thing, conditional formatting, you can apply it here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to autofill this. Okay, you can see that remaining staff, they've used 13 years and so on and so on. So let's use conditional formatting just as we've done in the previous example here. So what I'm going to do here is go to conditional formatting in your home tab, style section, click on this down key, this arrow, highlight, hover on the first one, then I'm going to use greater than. All right, okay, now by default this is what comes 13.5. I'm just going to change this to 34. Okay, 34. So any number that is above 35 or that is above 34, which is 35, I'm expected that particular cell to turn red. Okay, so if I'm going to change this to probably 1989, let me say 1987, not 18, pardon me, 1986, let's say 1986. Now this is above 38 years, which is above 35, and this is 38, so you can see it highlights it in red. So I'm going to take it back to 2008, what we have before. Okay, so so that's how to apply conditional formatting. So the last one we have here, well, you just have to take this particular function or formula, because it's quite very long. So we want it to calculate the years for us, the months, the days. Okay, so you're still going to use the same function, but you're just going to add some, some little formulas to it. So this is how this is going to look like. So now I'm going to use numbers of years in service. I'm going to use the date of employment. Okay, now which will be equals to date if open bracket. Now I'm going to select the first date. Remember what we've done before, comma, then today's function, today. So press tab on your key to select it, you close it, right, comma, then open quotation y, right, you close the quotation, you close the bracket. But you're not going to stop there. Okay, now what I'm typing here, in case this may not be enough, you can just switch over to this place. Okay, you understand, you can continue your formula. This is your formula tab. All right, whatever you're typing here is what is going to show you as well. So I'm not going to stop that, so I'm going to add and sign. Okay, then what followed next is quotation. Now what I want to do here is that I want to add a text to this 48, like 48 years, you understand. So what followed next is quotation space. So I'm going to type in years. Okay, space, close quotation. Watch. Now you can see this is 16 years. You can see it. I kind of made it more, with the text, with the numbers and text together. Okay, so to add maybe numbers and text together, ensure you use this formula. Okay, and the years. Okay, now that is for the years. So let's continue with the months. So you're still going to continue with the same formula. Okay, you're not going to maybe start in another cell, so you continue from the same formula. So the next thing we have what to do here is to AND. So you're gonna add this AND sign, then the same function will be using date if open bracket. So we're going to select this same date because we are working for the first person, Blessing Peters. So I'm going to select this date, okay, comma, to this function, okay, close the bracket, comma. Then now remember, this is for years. What we want to do now is for months. So for months, it's not going to be Y, it will be open quotation YM. That is for month. Okay, close quotation. Don't worry, initially it may be a bit confusing, but when you sit with it, probably cram it at first, then later keep practicing, you get used to it. Actually something I make use of in my workplace. So all right, so what next is that I'm going to close the bracket, then add the AND sign. Okay, open quotation space. I'm going to type in months here. That's the letter that follows it, space, close quotation, then press enter. Let's see. Now you see we have 16 years, 5 months. Okay, now Excel calculates all this for you. You don't have to use your calculator to start typing back, so let's finish it up. So the next thing we have here is the days. Okay, let's type in, let's continue with the dates, with the days. Okay, let's continue with the formula. So what follows next is just the same thing you've repeated here, then what changes is this area here. Okay, so I'm gonna continue and date if open bracket. So it's going to select the first date here, comma, today's function. Okay, close the bracket. I believe you've already known to this point now, comma, then what follows is open quotation. Now for days, it's not going to be YD. It's not going to be YD, it's going to be MD. Okay, MD, that's for days. So close the quotation, then close the bracket. Then what followed next is AND open quotation. Then you can type in space, you can type in the letter, the days there. Okay, days space, and that is all for the formula. So let's see. Now you see, okay, let me just expand this a bit. So we have 16 years. This is 16 years, okay? 5 months and 1 day. Meaning that this Blessing Peters, from the date of her employment, she has used 16 years, 5 months, 1 day in the organization. Okay, so I'm just going to autofill this. Voila. So you can see the rest for for all employees